Hello everyone, I'll be doing my video on cellular respiration and photosynthesis for my General Biology 1 class. Just to introduce myself, my name is Tevin Massey, and I'll be explaining the process of cellular respiration. And basically, this process is how cells break down glucose to create energy in the form of ATP. And then I'll also cover the photosynthesis and compare both of the processes together. And let's go ahead and dive in. What is cellular respiration? Cellular respiration is a metabolic process that takes place of cells in living organisms. Its main goal is to convert glucose and oxygen into ATP, carbon dioxide, and water. ATP is energy currency cells use to function. And basically shown in the diagram right here shows the cellular respiration process of how it converts the light energy into the chloroplast, and then everything goes into a cycle. Here's an overview of the cellular respiration stages. There's three main stages in the cellular respiration. There's glycolysis, the citric acid cycle, also known as the Krebs cycle, the oxidative phosphorylation. And this is an image of all the steps at once. And here's the glycolysis first step, and then there's also the next step right here for the Krebs cycle. And then the next step right here is the electron transport chain in mitochondria, which is the oxidative phosphorylation. Just to start off with glycolysis occurs in the cytoplasm. It breaks down one molecule of glucose into two molecules of pyruvate. This produces 2 ATP and 2 NADH molecules. It doesn't require oxygen, so it's considered anaerobic. And here is a diagram of cyclosis. The Krebs cycle is just a pyruvate that enters the mitochondria and converted into isotope CoA. This enters the Krebs cycle, which produces CO2, 2 ATP, NADH, and FADH2. This cycle happens in the mitochondrial matrix. And it has the Krebs cycle right here in the diagram, and it's all going right here. Basically just showing the process that I just explained just right here. And the next and final stage is the oxidative phosphorylation, and this occurs into the inner mitochondrial membrane. NADH and FADH2 donate electrons to the electron transport chain. This movement pumps protons and creates gradient that drives ATP synthesis. And then oxygen is also the final electron acceptor and forms water. About 34 ATP are produced here. And like I said, you look at the diagram right here, and it shows you basically everything I just explained to you right here. And the total ATP yield is from one molecule of glucose. Cellular respiration produces about 36 to 38 ATP molecules. Most of this ATP comes from the oxidative phosphorylation, which I just explained about in the final stage. And here's just a diagram that shows the production of ATP in a model, showing the conversions from everything into ATP. What is photosynthesis, though? Photosynthesis is the process which plants, algae, and some bacteria use sunlight to make glucose, oxygen from carbon dioxide and water. This process takes place in chloroplast. And as you see in the picture right here, it's just like how you see plants outside. Plants outside, they'll use water and light and carbon dioxide, and then gives us the oxygen that we need to breathe. And the stages of photosynthesis is mainly two stages. the light-dependent reactions and the Calvin cycle. The light-dependent reactions convert solar energy, which is the energy from the sun, into ATP and NADPH. And the Calvin cycle uses those products to produce glucose, which is the sugar inside of the plants. And it also shows in this diagram right here how basically the sunlight is coming down and bringing in carbon dioxide to produce the oxygen and the glucose. The comparison between photosynthesis and cellular respiration is that they're almost opposite processes. Photosynthesis uses carbon dioxide, which is CO2, and releases O2, while cellular respiration uses O2 and releases CO2. Both processes make ATP, but in different ways. One stores energy and the other releases the energy. So it causes a cycle, just how I showed it in the diagram right here. Photosynthesis is pushing out and taking in the sunlight and the carbon dioxide, and then pushing out the sugars and the oxygen, and then cellular respiration, they're bringing in that oxygen and that sugar, but they're releasing the carbon dioxide. And a real world example of photosynthesis is just how trees and plants in the forest produce oxygen and remove carbon dioxide from the air. And this is not only important for plant growth, but this is also great for our atmosphere. And we also need to breathe as us humans. Without plants, we would not be able to breathe at all because they produce the oxygen that we need to breathe. And here's a real life example of, a plant just producing that oxygen that we need. And a real world example of cellular respiration would just be simply how our muscles use it during an exercise. When we run or when we lift weights, our muscle cells are rapidly breaking down glucose and oxygen, which make ATP for energy. If oxygen runs low and the cells switch to an anaerobic respiration, leading to lactic acid buildup and burning feeling in your muscles, and that's not good for, especially if you're trying to work out. And it's just showing here in the diagram how basically everything, even when it comes to you breathing is your cellular respiration that's, going on in your body. And just to clean everything up, with my final thoughts is just basically cellular respiration and photosynthesis are vital processes that support life on this earth. Without those, we would not be here right now. So those two topics are very important. And I just hope this video just helped you explain and understand, how energy flows through living systems. And, just thank you for watching. And here are my sources where I got my information from. And, I just want to say thank you and have a good one.